Hello, everyone, and welcome to our ASU Talk. We're going to be talking today with Masava, a Kenyan artist and teacher who grew up in the slums of East Nairobi. Despite his difficult upbringing, his passion for art elevated him to become a recognized artist not only in his country but also abroad, and Slovakia included. Adam fulfills the true sense of the phrase "anything is possible" by setting up an example for community through his volunteer work teaching kids from various slums in Nairobi. So we're going to be discussing how does the life of an artist look like, what was like to live in a slum, and how he enjoyed spending time in Slovakia. So these are going to be all the questions we're going to explore together with Adam, who are with us today. But before I get to the discussion with him, I would like to encourage you to contribute to the discussion with your comments or your questions or anything you would like to share. Please do comment, and we will gladly reflect on it. So, Adam, welcome, and thank you for joining us today.
Thank you so much. I'm really humbled and happy to be here to share my artistic journey. Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, So let's get to it. Your art communicates life in a slum, so your upbringing is sort of interlinked with it. But I assume it's sort of challenging or might be challenging to become an artist, and it's a difficult profession, right? Especially in these times of uncertainty, and maybe for the person with your background in particular. So, how is it like to become an artist who grew up in a slum?
Well, I think first of all, I have to be grateful to God because I think God has blessed my life and my journey so much with lots and lots of blessings in different ways. And I can say artistic life is not easy, especially when your upbringing is from the informal settlement. But also, if I look at it in a positive way, I see, for me, growing up in slum has given me an opportunity to get better ideas. So basically, when we were growing up, our family was really humble. And I remember my mom used to work as a house help in an Indian house. And my dad used to work as he used to go to industries and as a handyman, like when they need an extra hand, they would pick some of them. So that setup was quite difficult for us to get everything that we needed. But also, I think that was a good thing for us to learn a lot of lessons the hard way. Basically, for me, I learned that you have to work very hard to become a better person. And some of the challenges that we were facing when we were kids, they really, really strengthened us, and they are really helping us up to today, the lessons and things that we learned. And I remember we used to live in a small house made out of iron, a small, very small room. I have two brothers and one sister. Then, so basically my mom and dad used to share the bed with my small sister. And I mean, with my younger brother and sister. And me and my brother used to take a piece of mattress and sleep on the floor. And one challenge that I can tell you was right now you have winter in Slovakia. It's cold, of course. Here, when it's raining, in those days, it was really difficult because we didn't have a proper drainage system. So you can imagine what rainwater used to creep into our house, and we were sometimes very deep in sleep, and you just get woken up with the cold water. So these are some of the challenges that when I remember, I tell myself that I need to work very hard not to go back to such a life. And also I can thank my parents so much because they really, really tried all their best to make sure that we get fed, we get clothes, we get shelter, basic needs, basically. And also, they really worked very hard for us to be disciplined. So the upbringing was not easy, but now that I'm older, I look at it and say, some of the things that I went through were there to strengthen me. And I basically tell God, thank you so much for all these challenges, because, you know, you learn when you make mistakes, or you learn when things are tough rather than when you win. Yeah.
So I can say that the environment and the background toughen you up. We can hardly even imagine how it must be to live in such an environment, and it's very inspiring story that you share with us today. And yes, you already taught us a little bit how your environment looked like and how your house looked like. But in terms of daily lifestyle, how your life looked like, which later then inspired your art. We're gonna come to that later, and we also show you guys how Adam's work looks like. But then, before we get into that, you could just tell us a little bit how the situation, yeah, the daily life looked like.
Well, so basically, for those who haven't been in a slum or haven't seen a slum, it's basically houses that are built so close to each other. Most of them are made out of corrugated iron, or some of them, the walls are made out of mud and sticks, and then the roof is made out of corrugated iron. So these houses provide cheaper way of sustaining a family, or anyone sustaining themselves in a big city like Nairobi, because house rent for normal flats or houses is quite expensive. So that's why you find a lot of people who come from the countryside or don't have good jobs live in these areas. So our, like I said before, our room was very small. Me and my brother used to joke like it's a self-confused room, because we basically had everything in there: the kitchen, the bedroom, the sitting area, the living room, basically, and everything that you would need. You just
It
stretch
was
your hand
pretty
like
much
this.
contained in one room, yeah.
Exactly. It was really small. So the setting was like a bed over here. Then there was a curtain. That bed was for my parents. It was, and then next to it was a kitchen where my mom used to cook for us delicious meals. Then on this side, we had like a couch where we could sit, a wooden couch. Actually, it was a wooden couch. And then my dad brought a seat from a matatu, like a small minibus, where we used to, he placed it on top of the wooden couch, so we would sit on it and be a little bit comfortable. And on the other side, there was a wooden cupboard where we would store our cutleries. So basically that was our setting. And then we had we were lucky, we had a black and white TV. So we would watch some stuff on that TV. And the only challenge was when it came to sleeping, because, you know, the room was really small, and sleeping was always a headache. But during the day, we would walk to school. I remember I used to walk like for half an hour or 45 minutes to school and back. And the school that I went to is called St. Bakita Primary School. So these schools, there's a very special nun from Ireland. She's called Sister Mary Killeen. She started the schools to support us with education of primary level. And so during those days, we would the school would provide meals for lunch and break time. So for break time, we would be given porridge, which is a mixture of water, corn, and a little bit of sugar, or sometimes no sugar. And then we would also get lunch in form of maize corn and beans. So kukuritsa, and I don't know how to say, yeah. So we would be given those, and those were like for me, I would go to school because of the free food. And through that, I gained some education and some knowledge, which I'm really, really grateful. And then during school holidays, we used to like play football all the time. And then we would go to a big river and swim, come back, play football, go around the estates, knocking on doors, asking for food. It was just some mischievous behavior from us being kids from the slum, which is a process that a lot of kids in the slums go through. And then some of these things help you. Yeah.
Yeah, I can see that even though you didn't have all the luxury in life and all the comfort, despite of that, you somehow you were living in a loving environment, right? You also mentioned the relationship with the kids around you, your friends, and you also mentioned your family, your parents, and the relationship with God as well. So how would you describe your belief? Is it something that helped you through some difficulties in life, and also um, later on when you started painting?
Yeah. Here in Kenya, when we were growing up, our parents were very strict and they wanted us to be very disciplined kids and kids that would believe in God. So it was a must. Every Sunday we must go to church, whether you like it or not. If you don't go to church,
Did
you
you like
don't
it?
eat. Well, in the beginning, I didn't like it because I felt like I was forced to go to church. But you know, kids are, it was us being kids. Me and my brother, we didn't like it because the church was quite far. We used to go on 2 buses to get to the church. But I think by going to church and going to school and our parents being strict on us, this was their way of showing love to us. And it was their way of occupying our time in a positive way because some of the kids who are not going to church or not going to school ended up in trouble, which made some of them lose their life. Some of them are in jail, serving very long-term prison terms. I can give you a good example. When we were learning art at a setup that also again Sister Mary founded, one guy used to come there. He was quite a rude boy, like very aggressive. So he like made himself a small, you know, when the cars are being sprayed, there's something that looks like a gun. So if you cut the nozzle where the paint comes from, you get this metal that looks exactly like a pistol. So he cut the nozzle and then he tried to modify it and look like a gun. So he used to rob people with this thing, and he was arrested someday. And it was way back in 2007, I can say, if I can remember. And he was sentenced for 13 years. He just came out last year, towards the end of last year. So he spent like 13 years in prison. And then a lot of some of my classmates, schoolmates were killed by police because of getting into crime. So for me, I can say going to church, believing in God, going to school helped me stay out of trouble. And also art, like painting. These are some of the things that helped me stay out of trouble.
We're gonna talk about your motivation to become an artist and start to paint a little later. But
Yeah.
when thinking about your life and your setting, what was the biggest challenge when becoming an artist? Right, because
Well, the
you
big,
talked about the environment and in yeah, the setting by itself can
yeah,
be problematic no matter what you're trying to achieve in life. Yeah,
yeah,
but
yeah,
uh, in terms of becoming an artist as a profession, which is
yeah.
very specific, what might have been the biggest challenge for you?
So my biggest challenge was number one, to convince my parents that art is good. It wasn't easy. They wanted me to like go and take a course or go to college and do something that would get me a job really quickly. And you know, with art, when you're learning, you need like to to be patient, acquire the skill, and then work a little bit hard, and then the money will start coming. So that process is not a process that a lot of parents are patient about. So that was one of the challenges. The other challenge was I grew up with friends and family who play football. So my younger brother played in Czech Republic and Slovakia in the leagues there. So all of my surrounding was like for football. So for me, like always going there and talking about football, playing football was like stealing me away from art. So it was difficult for me like to compose myself and go to paint. But
So it was never a thing for you to play football as
pardon?
majority. It was never the case. It was never something that interested you
I
to
was I
play
was
football.
interested out of the influence of everybody around me was playing football. So I played football a little bit. I injured myself pretty bad when I was in primary school, and then the process of healing was really painful. So I said, no, I don't want to go through this anymore. So I used just to play football for fun, but for them it was like they wanted to become professional footballers, and thank God, most of them ended up playing in Europe or around Africa, or even here in the Kenya league, and also for the Kenya national team. So let me give you the story where I got injured. I was selected by our school to play in our school team. Then I think I broke my ankle quite badly. And so my mom was called to come and take me to a hospital. And when she saw me, she started crying because, not because she saw me in pain, but because she thought she didn't have money to like make sure that I'll be healed. So we went to a hospital. We went to there's a Slovak small hospital around St. Catherine Primary School.
All
It's
right. So
built by
there
the
has been
Tranava.
Slovak
Yes, yeah,
hospital.
it's built.
Okay.
It's built by the Tranava University, and they
Okay.
used to bring in doctors to come and work there. So when I was taken to this hospital, because it's right next to the school, I was taken there. I was in shock. I wasn't feeling so much pain. There was one gentleman, a Slovak doctor, who looked at me and said, by the way, his name is Dr. Lubo. So Dr. Lubo, if you get this message, thank you so much. Maybe you can't remember because you took care of a lot of young people and people here in Kenya. So thank you. He looked at me and said, no, we can't do anything without an X-ray. So this was one way of, and my mom was insisting, just give him some painkillers, rub some ointment on his injury, put a bandage around it, and then we can go. That's it, because that was a normal way of making some healing. But this was like first aid. So the doctor said, no, I can't touch the leg. I need an X-ray to determine what is the problem. So we crossed over. There's another hospital there. It's called Mata Hospital. Right there, my mom went to the reception, and the bill that she was told for X-ray was quite a lot in those days. It was about maybe 12 euros, but for her it was too much. She again started crying. So I told her, Mom, I think I'm okay. I can just go. We can just go home, and then I think I'll heal naturally. And she was like, no, but you need to. So she went back to the slum and asked some of our friends for some money. Then she came back. The X-ray was done. I went back to the doctor. He like took care of me, and then the healing process took like 3 months. And I said, no, I don't want to play football anymore. And then within that time, there was a huge competition, because I told you our school used to be given food for lunch. So there was a huge competition that was done by the World Food Program, because the World Food Program and USAID was supplying us with these food stuff. So there was a competition for kids to like showcase or express themselves how World Food Program is helping them. So I painted a huge truck with full of food stuff, food sacks in it, and then there was a tent of World Food Program. Then kids were chasing the truck. On the horizon there was a school, and then on the far side behind the truck there was an old man who was trying to catch up. So he was bending and with a stick trying to like walk faster. So with this artwork, my work was first in Africa, then it went to the world contest whereby I won. And after winning these, I thought, if I've won in a world contest the first prize, I think I have some talent in art. So from there, I started like focusing more in art, trying to learn and stuff like that. And when I completed school, I joined this place where was run by a sister from Ireland. God rest her soul in peace. She's called Sister Lori from Ireland. So she used to like to help us learn art by giving us material. So when I was learning, back to the your question, when I was learning, the other challenge was material-wise. Getting art materials is expensive, especially for a beginner. All the art materials, if you go to a bookshop, if you go to an art shop, they are quite expensive. So that was also another challenge that used to hinder me. But all in all, I broke the code.
So it looks like all of your life, pretty much, the biggest issue was money, right? Even when you were talking about your injury, um, it's difficult for us to imagine that your mother, being that position, had to choose uh, between not healing her son and therefore save money, but also on the other hand, it's amazing how the community where you grew up with uh, was able somehow to contribute, and you managed at the end of the day, right? So was it the
Yeah,
same for
yeah.
you when you started painting, and also with the help of the others you were able to pay the brushes and everything you needed for painting?
Yeah, a good thing with slums, it's a community. People work together, people help each other. People, you know, they say there are no secrets in the slum, because you can know what your next door neighbor is doing, what they are cooking. You can smell it, you can feel it. When they are talking, you can hear them. So it's a community that works together. And I remember when I was learning, before joining this place where Sisters of Mercy were supporting, I used to do some sign writing around the slum. I became very famous quite quickly because there are a lot of small businesses around the slum. Like, for example, hairdressing salon, haircut salons, barber shops. Also, small shops, lots and lots of businesses. So I used to do sign writing on them, and I used to do really good signs. So I got a lot of recommendations from any client that I worked with. And with that, I could afford some money to like support my family and also support my materials. And funny thing, most of the paint, I used to get it for free. There was a place where they used to throw some rubbish and some factory paint leftovers. So I used to go there and just get some small tins and collect every color. And those guys, after a while, in the beginning, they thought I was crazy, because these places, a lot of crazy people hang out. So they thought I was one of them, but they realized that I come for specifically collecting some stuff. And then because I was taking some tins and the paint was so thick, so I used to like put it upside down and stay aside and wait for it to like pour in the one tin. So I used to take some papers that were thrown, some newspaper that were thrown there, and sit aside and read. So they thought this guy is not crazy, because you see he can read, he knows what he's doing. After collecting the paint, I used to go. So one guy asked me, what do you normally do here? I said, I come here to collect some paint, where I go and do some signs. And those signs, the earnings I get, I always support my family and myself. He was so happy. It happened to be the owner of the space. So he told me, you said you're good in signs. Yeah. Can you write some signs for me? So I did some sign. I wrote the name of the place, and then I did some, whatever they offer, the services. And he was so happy. So he told me, from now on, you don't need small tins. Go and get some small jerry cans. So they used to like put some paint for me there, and then I just came and collected it. And so that way the community contributed quite a lot to my learning process, because they gave me some work to do. And also those guys who used to give me free paint, that was awesome.
It's amazing to hear that. But before I get to another question, I would like to once again remind our audience to send questions or comments or anything you would like to share with Adam, so that we can read it out loud for everyone who is watching us today, and Adam can reflect on it. So, Adam, while I was listening to you, I was wondering if breaking the ankle was the breaking point when you finally decided, okay, this is not my style. This is not what I want to do with my life, to play football as the other friends of yours. But I want to become an artist. Or was there a breaking some other moment when you said for yourself that, okay, I really want to do this? Or did it come naturally? Because you were talking about the moments when you started to paint, the community helped you and everything, but it was there a specific moment, or you were always convinced about your journey of an artist and it was fluent somehow for you? How was it?
I think you've put it right well. Like, breaking my ankle was my breaking point to stop football and
Literally.
focus on art. Yes, so that was one aspect. And then the other aspect was, when I was in school, corporal punishment was real, and we used to get beaten by teachers like crazy. Like, I can't even explain right now. So our art and craft teacher and history teacher was like really tough. He was one of the teachers who were feared because of the corporal punishment thing. So one day,
We also had
he was,
several ones like that, but yes, I imagine that it must have been much more tough.
yes,
Yeah.
yours was, I think, was an appetizer, was a soup. So
Exactly.
when the teacher was teaching, I was busy sketching him. As I got carried away by the drawing and didn't realize that the teacher was walking around. So he
Yeah,
came
you
and,
didn't
yeah,
listen. Hmm.
he came and stood beside me and watched me doing the drawing. So when I lifted my head up to look at more details to put in, I didn't see him. When I turned around, I didn't see him on the other side, so he was in the right side. So he told me, young man, I'm teaching and you are busy drawing me. See me after the class. And anytime any teacher would tell you, see me after the class, that was a beating.
You
So,
already knew
and
what was gonna happen. Hmm.
yes, he specifically told me to go to the staff room. So if they ask you to go to the staff room, is even worse, because when you get there, all the teachers will like beat the crap out of you, like, because that means like you are
Hmm.
one naughty person. So I was really afraid. But then, and everyone in class was laughing at me. They say, today you will face the music. That's what they used to say. So he had actually asked me to go with the drawing. So I went there. I knocked. He told me, come in. And I was like surprised how the mood was like calm. So I expected him to tell me to kneel down because that was how naughty boys were dealt with. So he told the other teachers, I was teaching and this guy was drawing me, but the drawing is really good. Can you show the other teachers? So I showed them the drawing and they were like, wow, this is good. You have some talent. So the teacher served me with some stuff, with some tea for the teachers. He even gave me some of his slices of bread, and he told me to join the art club, the school art club, after the class, because it was on Friday. Every Friday, people would go to clubs. So I think the teacher saw some real talent in me, and he thought, this is a talent I can develop. So that was also another turning point for me, because when I joined the art club, there was a huge competition that was sponsored by a shoe polish called Kiwi. They used to like support primary schools here in Kenya with an art competition to bring out the art talents. So the first time I participated in this competition, I won a bicycle, which was something that had never happened in our school. So I was really happy. And then I won also some t-shirts because I did a few pieces. There was one I won a bicycle, t-shirts, and another one I won a school bag. So this type of presence plus the winning the world contest of the World Food Program competition,
It actually means
they
something, right? When you say
yeah
nowadays that's yeah, you win a T-shirt, it's not it might not have the same value as at that
yeah
time it had for you. It's amazing that you
yeah
took the risk and you started painting your teacher despite the potential problem there. So
yeah
yeah, it's amazing.
absolutely.
uh, yeah, so let's go back to, or let's introduce your art so that also other people can actually see how it looks like. So
Okay.
if we have some pictures there, we can show them to our audience, and maybe we can talk about your style and what it represents. It, of course, derives from your environment where you grew up
Yeah.
in, but you can tell us a little bit more what we see on the pictures.
Okay. So basically, my work tries to show the positive side of slum life, because slums are stereotyped, and people just focus on just one side, and they forget that a coin has two sides. So for me, I try to flip the coin, show the other side that is neglected. So I try to show in my work how a community, the slum is, how peaceful it is, how hardworking people are, how kids are grateful, even with all the struggles and troubles. I try to tell stories of positivity in my work, and also try to not show pittiness, because I don't like to show that. Um, a lot of people, when they look at slums, they pity people living there, but the case is completely different. When you go into the slum, you will find a lot of positivity. People live together. So in this painting, I have two styles. So in this style, I use real corrugated iron that I collect from the slums when the landlords or structure owners are doing renovation. Then I burn them in a big fire to make them lose weight. After that, I use water and acid to fasten the rusting process. So a funny story, before I expound more, I used to collect my own urine to pour on the iron to make them rust a little bit faster. So one day, my studio mates saw that I take quite a lot of time to like fill many bottles to make the rusting process occur. So they used also to like put their urine in the bottles. So one day I was trying to puncture one of the bottle tops, and I accidentally spilled the urine in my face. So I stopped like using urine, because it's a little bit disgusting. So now I figured out that after doing some research, if you use acid, it fastens the rusting process quite quickly. So these days I use acid, and then after that I stretch them on a piece of frame. Anywhere you see paint on the on my artwork in this iron style, I have treated it using clear varnish, and then I leave some of the part of the iron to make it look more natural and bring out a balance, because the rust sometimes has some dark colors, and mainly I use a lot of bright colors in my work because the rust is quite strong, so it needs bright colors so that I get a balance and a good contrast between the two colors. So this is a kid enjoying his bicycle. It was a commission for a client who was living Kenya. She really liked it. I hope she really enjoys it.
So it means that people who might be watching us and might be interested in your work, they don't have to afraid of funny smell if they place your drawing on their wall, right?
No,
Make them
I,
sure.
I always clean them before selling them. I
Okay.
just give them. I call it giving them a bath, and after that, everything is clean. So in this painting, I painted a bike hustler. So this guy, I know this guy. He has done this job for so many years. He started by carrying bread on his shoulder. Then I think he saved some money and bought a bicycle. Actually, here in Africa, a bicycle is an instrument of work, and it's actually a livelihood for so many people, where you find somebody feeding their family or even sending their kids to school through hustling on a bicycle. So I call this type of people uncelebrated heroes, because this guy goes every morning to the bakery, collects bread, and then supplies it into the small shops, whereby kids and people would buy the bread, get some proper breakfast before going to school or work. So if he doesn't do this, it means people will go to school on empty stomach. So I celebrate this type of people, this type of hustle in my work. And in slums, there is no running water that goes directly into the house. You have to go somewhere where people people sell water. So during school holidays or weekends, you find this type of scenes where kids are sent to fetch water. So I also try to showcase this to show that kids in the slums are disciplined and they are responsible, because it's not everywhere that a kid would be sent to carry such a heavy load and bring it back safely.
Okay,
So
let's
this
take a
is,
look at that one. Mm-hmm.
yeah, this is my second style, whereby I use some cardboards which I collect either from shops in the slum or dumping sites. So basically, when you take a cardboard, when you peel it, the top's thin layer, you find this corrugated stuff. So I normally do my sketches. Then after doing sketches, I stick the cardboards according to the sketch, and also some of the cardboard which maybe perhaps people or companies use to ship heavy stuff like maybe washing machine, TV, or fridge, they have this pattern that is quite thick. So if I use it on the foreground, it creates some depth. Then the rest I put like tiny ones, and then I get some depth in my work. And then on this, also I use a pizza box. If you peel a pizza box, you will find it has like really tiny patterns that creates more depth in my work. So this is what I use to showcase the slum roofs. And in this style, I try to show how what people think is poverty is also beautiful, because if you look at the rust on the roofs, it looks quite beautiful. It looks quite unique. It looks quite fantastic, and people enjoy this type of artworks. I've had a lot of feedbacks from clients who say my work really touches them and speaks to them. So I'm really happy.
Yeah, we're gonna talk about the responses of the audience and people who've seen your art a little later. But
Yeah.
you had definitely plenty of very interesting techniques indeed, and your art is therefore very inspiring and very catchy.
Thank you.
And obviously, the environment inspires your work dramatically. But have you
Yeah.
ever considered detaching from it, from the typical theme you're working with, and try to depict something different? It looks like we have a visitor there.
Yeah. Um,
Yeah.
I think for me, I feel like I'm an ambassador of the slum, and normally I think it's always good to showcase this type of stories. For example, on this painting that is on screen, when we were growing up, if you had a bicycle, you would become an instant celebrity. Every child would like to be your friend. Every child would like to socialize with you, simply because they would like you to give them a ride on your
Well, the
bicycle. So
principle stays also here. If you have a fancy car, everybody wants to be your friend. So it's pretty much the same
exactly.
thing. Hmm.
Yeah, yeah. So you'd find this type of scenes where kids are parked on one bicycle and they enjoy it. They feel very happy. They ride it around. So for me, sometimes if I get commissions, that's when I would detach slightly towards doing something different. But I feel like I haven't, because I use my work to teach and inspire people and make sure that they get the stereotyping bridge is like closed. So right now, if I detach, I feel like I will just have done a small portion of work, which would be like a comparison of a drop in the ocean. So I'm still thinking like I need to do more and keep showcasing the informal settlement in a positive way.
It almost feels like that you feel like being chosen, if I should put it that way, that you somehow feel obliged to communicate this environment and situations in daily life people are living in slums. Is that correct?
Yeah, absolutely. There are a lot of other artists who do such things, and I think together we are creating a good fire that will go wild, hopefully, and people would appreciate the slums much more.
This mission of yours, if I can say that way, maybe it's very much related to your work that you're doing and that you keep inspiring your environment and people, and especially young kids.
Yeah.
So is that something that also convinced you to motivate others and try to engage them in art as well?
Absolutely.
Is that is
Well,
that is that what you do for people living in slums
yes,
and people in that
yes.
area?
Yeah, I feel like the slum gave me a lot of opportunities for free. And now that I'm a successful professional artist, I just can't stay away and watch others suffer. And I think I can be useful by teaching kids and young people art, which would help them in future. So basically, what I do is in 2008, my brother had in the previous year been given a contract by a team from Czech Republic in a town called Most. So when he came back to get his long-term visa, I painted a small thank you card for the club president, which he went back and gave the club president. So the club president looked at the card and he was really happy. So he asked my brother if he can get more of those. And my brother told him, like, this is my elder brother who painted it, so you can easily get more. So he was intrigued. So he immediately called me and asked me if I did the artwork. I said, yeah. And he told me he would like to organize an exhibition for me in Czech Republic. I was really happy. I was ecstatic. I ran around the house screaming and shouting, and it was really, really joyful. So I went to
Was it
Czech.
the first time traveling abroad for you?
Yes, it was my first time. So I went to Czech, and the day of the exhibition was a home game for my brother's team. He played really well. They won 4-2. He scored 1 goal and assisted 1 goal. So the fans were really happy. They came for the show, and within 2 hours, everything was sold in the exhibition. And I got a lot of commissions to do more work. And when I came back, I had a lot of money. So I said, some of this money I can use to start a small art class for kids. So I bought some materials and started teaching kids. And then I saw like these kids were really talented. So I kept on. And right now in my studio, or rather let me say our studio, because it's our studio, we have an art collective called Mukuru Art Collective, whereby we have around 40 young artists, both boys and girls, coming there to learn and work and earn a living out of art. And some of the young guys in the setup were kids that I taught 10 years ago. So it's really a moment of pride for me, like to see that what I did all those years now is paying some good fruits, because most of these young guys, they earn a living out of art. Some of them have paid their high school fees through selling their work. Some of them have are also supporting their families and paying high school fees for their younger siblings, which is fantastic. So I feel like the work I've been doing is good.
It's amazing.
So
You, you
yeah,
should be definitely proud of yourself. It's amazing how you keep inspiring people and young
yeah,
kids to see them growing up and also contribute to the same circle. So it's amazing indeed.
thank
You
you.
also have web page, and also people can find you on social media, right? Where
Yeah,
your art is easily accessible and can be bought
yes,
if
yeah.
wanted. So maybe you can tell our audience where they can reach out to you and find your work if they're willing to have it in their rooms in their
For
settlements.
sure, for sure. One place where you can have a look at our work, we have an Instagram page called Mukuru Art Collective. You can follow us there, and you can see some of our amazing art and artists and our engagements. And then also we have a Facebook page called Mukuru Art Club, where you can like it, and also you will see posts of our work. And then if you would like to see some of my work, you can kindly follow me on Instagram, which is Adam Masava. And I also would like to keep on inspiring young artists through my work and through my art journey, through my processes. I've decided to start up a YouTube channel, which is called Adam Masava Studio. Please remember Adam Masava Studio, because if you just write Adam Masava, you will get videos of media houses and people that have done about me in the past. But if you are looking at for my channel, it's Adam Masava Studio. And my son is also an upcoming artist. He's 7 years old. He also have a very nice YouTube channel where he's doing some vlogs, just showcasing whereabouts of a normal child in Kenya. So this his YouTube channel is called Fabian Masava. So please feel free to subscribe to these two
This is
channels.
definitely
And
something
then,
that we will post on our social media as well. So anyone who is interested can also reach you out through us. We'll also find. I'll put the information on our Facebook. So for those ones who are interested, they will definitely find you. We have a question from Sakong, who is
yeah,
asking you how much supportive has the Kenyan government been towards your artwork? Thank you, Sakong, for your question.
yeah. Thank you so much, Sakom Kiplagat, for your comment. Well, I mean, for your question. Well, I can tell you, like, we haven't had support from the government for all those years, but luckily last year there was a stimulant kitty that was given out by the government during COVID, when COVID was really hard. So they gave us a commission to do a public mural that would address COVID. So we painted a huge mural in Mukuru slum, where a lot of people would learn from the mural, and that's what I can say regarding government help. That's it.
In another way, not much.
Pardon?
In another way, not much.
No, we haven't had any support from the government. But you know, the problem is a lot of people here in Africa do not understand art. So trying to convince them that art works or art can address some problems or issues, it's really difficult. But right now I can say that Kenya is getting there in terms of people trying to like appreciate art, because Nairobi is one of the cities that you will find hectic traffic. You can spend hours and hours on traffic, and in this traffic jams, you can see a lot of people hawking lots of stuff. But now they've started to hawk art for houses. So this middle class household will, most of them will get this type of art, and then people will start appreciating art. And I think the Kenyan public is appreciating art slowly by slowly, trying to understand. And I think it's a journey that needs more work to be achieved, but I think we are getting there.
Absolutely. And also with your contribution, I believe that slowly people will recognize your work and art in general more
Yeah,
for the
hopefully.
better. So
Yes.
hopefully. You
Yeah.
mentioned your travels to Czech Republic and how much people appreciated your work and how much they were excited to see that. What about your traveling to Slovakia? Because you visited shortly before COVID in 2019, and you
Yeah.
visited the capital Bratislava, but you also been to other bigger cities such as, if I'm not mistaken, Banská Bystrica, Košice, Prešov, and
Yeah.
you gave some lectures there and you did some workshops for kids. So
Yeah.
how was the attitude of our people? How did you feel in Slovakia?
Well, I can tell you for free, Slovakia is I feel like Slovakia is my second home. Whenever I come to Slovakia, I feel really happy. I can see a lot of comparison. If you compare Slovakia and Kenya, Kenyans are really kind, always welcoming, warm, kind-hearted. And that's exactly what I see when I come to Slovakia. Families welcome me. They give me everything possible to make me feel at home. And they also try to speak English just to make sure that I'm comfortable. I've been to Slovakia a lot of times, and I always enjoy my time. In 2019, in December, I
Sorry to cut
enjoyed.
you short. I just came to my mind. So they were trying to speak English with you, but you
Yeah,
also were try to speak Slovak. Did you learn some things?
exactly. Yes, yes,
Okay.
I've learned a few Slovak sentences. For
Mm-hmm.
example, when I get into the house, I say ahoy, maminka, ako samaj, moje meno je Adam Masava, som z Kenye, ja som umelec,
Veľmi dobre.
ďakujem veľmi pekne. Hej, hej,
Wow.
ďakujem.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. You can almost have a decent conversation already in Slovak. Amazing.
Yep. Yeah, let's go.
Yeah, so after COVID finishes, you have to come back then.
Yes, yes, I need I'm planning hopefully next year to come if everything works.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like I told you, I'm always humble to come there. Kids, I always work with kids when I come there, and the kids are amazing. Like they are eager to learn from me. They also teach me Slovak. They also teach me a few things. You know, when you teach, you also learn. So I also grasp a few things that I are strengthening me, especially when I come back here to teach kids and young people in at Mukuru Art Collective. That's always helpful.
This is beautiful. Well,
Yeah.
since our time is up, I have to say big thanks to you, Adam. Thank you for introducing us to your world and to your art. And hopefully, it's going to be progressing even more and more, and that you will keep inspiring. That you will keep inspiring more people. And also,
Yeah.
thank you guys who found time to watch our ASU talk today. Let me just remind you, we are to be found on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube channel, and Instagram. We'll also put the information there for Adam Masava, who joined us today. So you can also, if you want to reach him or you're interested in his work, the information will be on our page. Also, in case you missed the live session today, you can always rewatch it later on our YouTube channel, or if you don't find the time to watch it, you can always listen to it on our podcasts. And we also meet every last week in the month, so you're more than welcome to see our ASU talk next week. It's going to be precisely on 19th of December, and we will welcome a Slovak journalist, Diana Čavojská, who covers stories about African Slovak newspapers. So there surely has or is a lot to be excited about, and I hope to see you in a month. So you have a wonderful evening, and thank you for joining us today. Thank you, Adam. Have a great day. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye bye.